Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We worry. When we studied in colleges, I know of my friends who would travel by public modes of transport carrying daggers or chili pepper sprays, worried about lurking assaulters. Decades have passed since we moved out of our colleges. Rapes, sexual assaults only continue within campuses and outside. Worse, the politics around it all sometimes gets sickening, patriarchal, and again a rude play-out of what must not be said or done. From Anna University, where a second-year-old student was raped, to Telangana, where scores of students are out on streets angry that their hostel staff recorded them secretly in washrooms at the outskirts of Hyderabad. And then you have a judge today who schooled our netas on tacit patriarchy and lessons on feminism. If that's not a word you like, let me change that to humanism for only one reason. Because beyond terms, here's a fight for dignity, rights, and safety. Our focus: unsafe campuses, unsafe women, tacit patriarchy, even from allies. It's been over 10 days since a second-year student of Anna University in Chennai was raped on campus by an outsider, triggering massive protests, led even by political rivals of the ruling DMK. The Madras High Court today has dismissed a petition by the Patali Makkal Kachi, that's PMK, seeking a permission to hold a protest against the rape of a student at Anna University. The judge said, "We should be ashamed," while talking about the politicization of the case, instead of focusing on women being safe and, in fact, their safety. And I quote him, "I am ashamed to live in an era where discrimination based on gender and caste continues. All of us should be ashamed. We all are co-accused in such crimes." The judge went on to say that instead of serving as a wake-up call, the case was being politicized. Protests were done for attracting media attention and not done out of genuine concern. In fact, when the petitioner for PMK argued that protests were for protecting our women, the judge schooled him on an important lesson in feminism and tacit patriarchy. The word protecting itself is wrong, he said. It means that we have not given equal rights to our mothers, sisters, and daughters. The mindsets and the words used need change. From Chennai to the outskirts of Hyderabad, in a shocking incident, female students of CMR Engineering College in Mechal near Hyderabad have alleged that hidden cameras were placed in their hostel washrooms. They have alleged that their videos were secretly recorded by hostel's cooking staff. Massive protests have erupted at the college campuses, with students demanding justice. Cops have assured swift action, promising to register a case and conduct a thorough investigation into the matter. Before we go any further, let me go to my colleague straight. And a reminder that we have the call lines open. Please feel free. Please start calling if you do have to share your concerns. First, let me go straight up to Varshini Ramu at this point, who joins us from Chennai. Varshini, are there any political responses to what the judge seems to have said today? Quite a schooling in tacit patriarchy.
Absolutely, yes. The Madras High Court has come down on a lot of things when it comes to this Anna University sexual assault case and the political parties, in fact, which are continuously protesting in the state of Tamil Nadu. The justice has, in fact, slammed the political parties for not, prioritizing the genuine concentration on women's safety and rather just, focusing on political gain and attention from the media is what the justice has essentially stated. And since the political parties have been also speaking about how their right to freedom to protest in the state is being curtailed by the DMK government in the state, which is using the police to, control them, is what is very saddening. And the political parties have also spoken about how, since the matter is now under legal sub judice, they just want to continue to help with the legal fight, and that is what is necessary at this point.
Varshini, thank you very much for joining us with those details. And as I said, there have been protests also that have been going on in Telangana as well at the outskirts of Hyderabad, and it's not just the first time. Hidden cameras, whether it be in colleges or in schools, is becoming a huge challenge. Well, they are, of course, meant to ensure safety of children who are studying in these campuses, but the way they have been abused, the manner in which the use has been abused, has raised some very important questions. I'm being joined at this point by my colleague Somit as well. Somit, massive protests by students, but how are authorities responding to this?
Well, yes, massive protest has been staged by the girl students, even the boy students of the at the CMR girls campus, and we were reporting from the spot. However, there was no formal complaint lodged by the management yet. At the same time, because the police have reached the spot, and also they spoke to the girl students, and also at the same time, they said that a case will be registered, and by now a case has been registered, and all the angles are being explored by the police is what police sources have also confirmed. At the same time, they've also spoken to the students who have raised these allegations that a few hostel staff they have been recording videos while girls are in the bathrooms, and in this allegation while who have made these allegations. The police has spoken to them. At the same time, police have also stated that as of now, 12 cell phones have been seized, and also all the cell phones have been checked for any obscene videos or any, videos recorded by the hostel staff. However, they didn't find any video, and they have sent all these 12 mobile phones to the lab, and the lab person have been asked to recover
Okay,
all the deleted videos or photographs. So as of now, the investigation is going on.
right.
Not a single video has been found, and the protests are going on.
All right, thank you very much, Somit, for joining us with those details. I'm also being joined at this point by PK Jain, who's a retired senior IPS officer, as well as Brinda Adige, who's an activist. Very good evening. Thank you very much for your time. PK Jain, if I can come to you straight, um, hidden cameras are a necessity. It is a necessity to ensure safety of those who are in a particular campus, whether it be children, absolutely young, small children or teenagers, whatsoever. But PK Jain, there's an increasing uh, or there's a rise in instances where these hidden cameras are actually being abused for sexual assault, for cases of sexual assault or rape for that matter. PK Jain, how should one look at this?
Sneha namaskar. Thank you very much for inviting me here today. See, my simple take on this matter is we are into a stage of technology, and there is no way that these things can be done away with or can be, wished away. So there are two things. One is that whenever we find such a case, we must make an example out of it. The people who are behind it, the culprits, they should be taken to task in very, very strict terms. And the second one is bias beware. I think it is the duty of the management that they must keep screening all these places which are vulnerable, like the girls' bathrooms and things like that. CCTVs in open areas are always welcome, but somebody trying to clandestinely record private moments is something which should always be dealt with a very, very heavy hand. The management, the college management, the hostel management must keep sweeping these areas for hidden cameras, for hidden electronic devices. That is one. And secondly, I think the girls have been very vigilant in this case. I don't know whether there will be any deleted videos found on the cell phones which have been recovered, taken into custody by the police. But if at all there are, I think it is a question of bias beware also. I think all the girls and the users of such bathrooms should also be careful about such occurrences because they happen in the trial rooms, in the showrooms, they happen in the girls' bathrooms in various hostels, colleges. So I think it is a
Absolutely.
multifarious approach that will probably help us. Otherwise, I'm at my wit's end to even think as to how can this problem be tackled. The only thing in my police manners is that we deal with such cases with a very, very heavy hand. And if a message goes across to the culprits or the probable culprits, that helps. Sneha ji.
Okay, Brinda Adige, if I can get you in. Brinda Adige, this horror is literally state after state after state after state. Today we are focusing on two instances, one in Hyderabad, one in Chennai. I mean, just look at this. Today what the judge went on to say is very, very important. And it's not about those who understand or not understand, who are not sensitive. This is also for allies. And that's politicization of cases for political gains, but more importantly also, just a very minimal understanding of words to be used and not to be used.
Politicizing of cases are happening everywhere. There is not a single state or a case that has not been politicized. But that said, the protests that are out there, I would like to look at it from another angle about the inaction or the apathy on the part of the state and the management. Now, the other question that you asked to the other panelist is, should we even have CCTV cameras at restrooms, toilets, bathrooms? These are private spaces. One can have it just outside those rooms. When we are in the bathroom or a restroom, there are many things that get recorded, and there is no way for anybody to keep monitoring the person who's recording this. But that said, there has to be some monitoring, which means it has to be done in person, probably by the warden or the supervisor in charge. Now, when we come to what the judge has said, this is tacit patriarchy. Sure, this is tacit patriarchy. But how else are we going to get the state and the management to be accountable? Where is it? We have heard, like you mentioned, case after case, but we really don't know what happens after an FIR is registered. We don't know what logical conclusion that case has been brought to. One doesn't know whether warnings were issued, whether any plan of action was asked, any directions and instructions given to the management to prevent something like this happening again. So all the time we discuss, and then we have these
Brinda
statements.
Adige, allow me to just interrupt you at this point. Please give me a few minutes. A caller joins us at this point, Rajesh Chaudhary from Gwalior. Mr. Rajesh Chaudhary, very good evening. Thank you so much for calling us. What's on your mind?
Ma'am, in India earlier, women were worshipped. Hello, ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, please, Mr. Rajesh, go ahead.
Ma'am, it is very disgusting. What will the people of other countries think of India when they come to know about these things? In ancient India, women were worshipped.
Okay.
Now, what things are taking place in our country? The youth of today have become totally corrupt. They need to be taught moral education. Only then the things will change.
Okay.
Education has nothing to do with these things.
Okay.
So education should be imparted in a proper way in the schools and in colleges. They should be given moral education in the schools. The youth of today have become totally corrupt. What image will be created in
all right, Mr. Rajesh, totally understand your concerns. Totally understand your concerns, Mr. Rajesh Chaudhary. Thank you so much for calling us. Brinda Adige, let me just take it to you. I mean, some of us may have questions or about the caller, the words that he used, and saying that youth is completely corrupt and the way he dissed the large population of the country. But here's the question, and just to put this in perspective, earlier also there were concerns. We all have gone through them at different phases as women. And so is it in today's country as well. But the nature, the complexities, particularly with technology, seems to have opened it to a very, very different realm.
Absolutely right. Technology today, especially if you look at the kind of sites, pornographic sites that anybody can download, many of them are very free. There is no monitoring, and there's no restrictions, and there's no censorship. But that said, we cannot say that now these have to be censored because that's policing. Education is absolutely important, yes, but it is also important on how we as a society, as families, as elected representatives and leaders address these issues. We know that the person who called said it is the youth that are corrupted, but we know that a lot of politicians have been caught watching these kind of videos, even inside the legislature or the parliament. We do not hold anybody accountable. We have laws. Voyeurism is a crime. But who has been pulled up? What kind of a punishment has been given? Where is the fear of law?
All right.
So one side of it is education. The other part of it is a fear of law. So both of it must go hand in hand.
PK Jain, if I can get you answer to what Brinda Adige is saying, fear of law. Laws are there. I want to ask you a question. When it comes to politicization of issues, does it help building pressure? Because obviously a lot of attention goes to that issue, which otherwise may just be shrugged under the carpet. But if you're building pressure politically, how you do it is also important. PK Jain, as somebody who served in the services, how do you look at this?
See, my limited take on this is that the now it has become an open game. Now, whichever party is in power, the other party tries to blame it. They want to run them down. So the other party also takes it in their stride. So criticism, political criticism, does
Okay.
not really help. What will probably help is take the case on its own merit and press for action. What happens is now, in this particular government, the crimes against women have gone up. The crimes against women have always been there from eternity. So they will keep on happening, and they must be tackled with a very, very stern and strong hand. You can't run down the government on that, because the same police was working for the earlier government. The same police is now working for this particular government. So my opinion on this is that the political party, if it takes a issue-based approach, that will probably help. Only trying to run down a particular government or a particular party will not help,
Okay.
which is
Mr. PK
generally
Jain, I'm going to interrupt
happening.
you. I'm sorry. We have a caller joining us at this point. Mr. Ramamurthy is calling from Pune. Thank you very much, Mr. Ramamurthy. Please go ahead.
Very good evening
Please
to
do share what you have.
See, it's become totally unsafe. For the campus has become very unsafe for women, particularly. In fact, see, they are, with due respect to our judicial system, unfortunately, it's a very slow process. See, my view, when they identify the culprit, without any delay, hang him publicly, hang him. So that should be a moral lesson, moral eye-opening to somebody else who would never dare to do such things.
Okay, Mr. Ramamurthy, I understand your emotions behind it, but law has to take its course. Hanging, I don't think, is the answer. There are punishments for different things. But very quickly, Brinda Adige, I'll just come to you for a minute. I'm short on time. To what he's saying, the long judicial process. Now, governments after governments have spoken about fast-tracking courts. Fast-track courts, fast-tracking judgments. That's fast-tracking justice. That's quite a fast stretch even right now.
Yes, it is a fast stretch because time and again, judicial reforms are being put on the back burner. One. Two, we are looking at n number of vacancies at various levels within the judiciary as well as within the prosecution and the police. So while Sir said that case by case you look at it, I actually think that when you look at it case by case, you also want to look at the policy. You also want to look at what can be put into place so that these actions are prevented, so that these crimes are prevented and places and institutions are made safer. And we can do this only when we hold the management accountable. We cannot only go behind one culprit and say, okay, he's been dismissed or she's been suspended. What have we done with the management? What action has the management taken? What things have they put into place so that this does not happen again? That is when the feeling of safety and security comes. So it is important that we speak and demand for immediate judicial reforms. We demand for fast track, and that fast track must happen with dedicated and trained prosecution and judiciary, not somebody who's sitting at a civil property case after 11:30 comes and sits into a women or a POXO court. That is unacceptable because that then takes its own course. So fast track also means...
I think such important points that have emerged, a lot of concerns, but the biggest concern really, and political protests are necessary, protests of all forms are necessary, holding power to account is usually necessary. But one thing that everybody would agree is our campuses definitely ought to become safer. Mr. PK Jain, as well as Brinda Adige, thank you very much for your time.
Namaskar.
Well, let's slip into a very short break. On the other side, at 7 o'clock, my colleague Shreya Upadhyay takes it over.